Sorry, Sue, I had to quickly pause the video, and well, I'm back now. Anyway, like I was saying, but basically, so yeah, so today I'm going to be looking at telling you about how I created my inventory with better functionality. So what I did was follow the same Titanic Games tutorials on the how to create the inventory, and basically what I got from that was that you have to start by showing that by creating different interactions to do with inventory, creating your widgets and creating, for example, inventory sizes and things like that. So basically what I did, I created in UI, I created an inventory UI, and basically what this widget let me, I just created it, and it was just a widget. Again, it's literally just a canvas. It's just different boxes with an image and score box, and I can put an image with inventory, so on. In the graph though, I had to create a section bit of code, to say I can do this. But first I created an event which would create the inventory, and in that event, so basically here what I was doing was I was just creating reusability for myself, so I could go back to my player character now and use that create inventory and use it here. So for example, as you see here in this other script, I have my create inventory now ready, and I can use this how I want to. And if I type this in now here, I can go create inventory, and it will come up. Let me just go create inventory, and it's just much easier as well as a developer to be able to do this, as it will just allow me to do this in any script I want it to use, and instead of having to rewrite the code again. And it's just reusability of code is just a very a good professional practice as well, because it allows you it saves time, and by saving yourself time, you can do other things that would make you getting better, like even testing. You can test the game, you can add other functionality to the game, and that's basically what else it meant, that I could focus more on creating the widget. So once I created that functionality, that created the function, I created an event from that function, and basically here I was literally now creating the inventory, showing it in the game. So I need to set the columns. I created two new variables which were integers because they're values, and these integers in the inventory, so in the inventory widget, in the graph section in the game. And using these, I could set what I want the rows and the row and the column position within the actual inventory. What I did here was I casted that to the player, so it was now set in the player. So when I used it would only work when the player was on screen. It was a mechanic that will be implemented for the player, and I got the function to get player character because that's who I was getting. I was getting the player character to do this. And I targeted the inventory side, which was another integer I created to find out the inventory size I wanted, so how many slots I wanted to create, and I chose to do 10 here. And then I said for I targeted another array I created, which was the inventory array, to hold the information from the inventory, and then I created the inventory widget. But first I created a loop, and basically this loop allows me to keep the inventory going, and it allows me to have this creation of inventory widget on while the inventory is on, so the different design. And that's generally what I did. So I created the inventory, and then I added the child. And basically what the child is, it's just setting up the alignment and the row column and things like that, and different functionality with different positions, row position, color positions, to the game, to the inventory. And I actually created from this function. I created this into a function, and then I grabbed a bunch of these of the, which was this originally. It was all this, you know, what you see here. So originally in the event graph, it would when create inventory, and I created inventory panel. From the inventory panel, it would add child to uniform grid, and so on and so on. So what is I highlighted them all, I right clicked it onto it, and then what I did was I just, you know, I collapsed it. And what the collapse what the collapse tool basically let me do is create a new function out of this. And this is what I did. I was making, again, blueprints were now neater as well. So there's not so much to look at. And if another developer looks at this as well, they can quickly understand what's happening instead of having to look through all this text. So I did a few of these to the set widget style, which was setting how big each box was going to be, color, picture, things like that. And that was more of a design feature for it. And then I set that using these, and then I created the position, which was another function. And then I had a few issues with this function, because originally when I created this, where it says here, if I show you, I did this later on. All this work was done over a couple of weeks because I generally came across into a really big problem. And basically what happened was, instead of row position here, so as you see, I have written a little bit about it, so you'll actually get to see that within the blog. It says here, I had row length instead of row position within one of the add child, for example. So if I go to add child here in row position, I had row length. It basically meant that whenever I played my game and opened my inventory, so I would open the inventory now. Then let me just play it. Sorry, it's going a bit slow. Come on. Yeah, so I play it, and I would press E, and I would have to scroll down, because originally I had 25 slots in my inventory. I would have to scroll down right to the bottom, and I couldn't figure out what was the issue. And so basically what I did was I went through all my code again, I looked through the tutorials again, made sure to understand the tutorials, and myself working out. Eventually I realized that it was my own fault, something I created here in the child function, which was added row length into this, which basically just created so that made it into the 5th row when I changed this value, because with this value with the column positions and things like that, I originally had set values for them. There were different ones for different things, and basically because of that and different set values I had on that one, on these as well, it just meant that for example here in column position I have 0, in row length I had so in the wrong in the row length I've got a 5, and then here I've got 5, and because I had row length, it meant that here it was getting the row length in for the set row, so it was becoming in the 5th row. And that was, I didn't realize that at the time, but eventually I realized that no, it should have been a set row position, which because you're setting the position of the row, not the length. So I did this and it works. But then I had another problem which I managed to fix before this, which was every time I opened the inventory would stay on and it wouldn't close. And that was a very simple fix. All I did was in player character, it says here is inventory open, and all I had to do was untick that, and that was all that was wrong. And I managed to figure that out quite simply, because I just went through my blueprints and I realized, does that make sense? If that's a true statement, then why is this one true as well? It's not. Oh, that's all I had to do. So so what I did was create the widgets, and once I created the widgets for the inventory and set the inventory thing at the actual inventory, I had to actually create the functionality of the inventory. And to do this, I created the inventory array, which holds the information, which was this all you see here was held in information, so that I could then use it. And I created inventory size, and once an item is picked up, I would then it would then it divided into events. The event, it would come from the inventory, and then the event from the VPI interact. And all the VPI interact is, if I go to the interact folder, it's basically the base for the item. So you see the red circles on the map, that's the base of the item. That's what's allowing me to interact with the item, looking back at the previous